Get this 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.
Have we got some appropriate music for, well, canvassing the new TV season?
I say get over it.
That was just wrong.
Okay.
Let's pick something at random.
I guess we'll go with that.
It's gonna
What
have
is
to be-
coming up in the
Well,
coming year?
here's something that you might like, Tone. Jimmy Smits
Oh, sizzling Jimmy Smits.
stars in a dynasty-style primetime soap about a wealthy family built on a sugarcane and rum fortune.
So all that tedious dialogue about trade tariffs in the new Star Wars films is really...
Served him well. There's another one here. It says, when a fashion mag needs a new editor, an unlikely promotions model with a heart of gold is the only choice.
Wow. I just love how everyone on television works in the media.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Don't you love that? They work in the media and they live in warehouse-style apartments.
Of course they do. How about this one? A hot male doctor gets a job at a fashion magazine, but what secret is he hiding? Does that sound pretty good?
So they've combined Ugly Betty and Grey's Anatomy.
Well, have a listen to this. This is another one. This is the best one. A fashion magazine opens at a hospital, and the new doctors' lives are thrown upside down when two of them are reluctant to moonlight as promotions models. And the last one, my favourite one, three people sit laughing directly into the camera as they tell you how they wrote a show about a group of people wandering the jungle has lasted 5 seasons.
Where are you up to in Lost, Mr. Mars?
No, just the end of season 2.
Where are they up to on the normal TV?
I'm not sure. Last time I saw, they were wandering through the jungle, wondering what's going on.
When it's finished, I'd like to think that 3 of the less important characters from Lost will come back for a show called After Lost.
That's a good idea.
Much like After MASH.
Great.
Just when they're just really losing small things like their keys. Where are those keys? Oh, there they are.
That was After MASH. That was what happened on After MASH. I think it was set at a radio station, wasn't it?
Really?
And it was
a place for all that sassy talk and dialogue.
and it was mostly just Colonel Potter, the priest, and Klinger just sitting around, just shuffling papers. Anything happening this week of interest?
Yes.
No.
Gee.
We only broadcast to all personnel.
Anyone still in contact with Hawkeye?
No, I think
No.
he's got a career. So I don't think he's returning my calls.
Why wouldn't even Radar? But surely Radar should have been in this. Why is it just me? Why am I still wearing this dress? The war's over. He was still wearing a dress.
Why was he wearing that dress?
I don't know.
To prove he was crazy. It was the Catch-22 thing on this, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the war's over. You're in Chicago. You're working at a radio station.
Now it's just an issue that you have to deal
No,
with.
he's trying to get out of the series. If I keep wearing this dress, they'll let me out.
We should do that for a phone-in. Pissiest sequel TV series.
Good idea.
I can remember ones that even people who were in can't remember doing.
Come on, Tone.
Dusty's Trail.
What's that?
Dusty's Trail was Gilligan's Island in the Wild West. Gilligan came back.
Stuck again.
He was called Dusty. He was lost on the journey to California on a 3-hour tour again.
With who?
Oh, they couldn't get anyone from. It was as though they'd done it down under and could only import one person from the original. But I think there was like a millionaire and a sort of hot chick.
Yeah, hot chick. What about an Australian one, Tone? You know any Australian spin-offs?
Yeah, Hampton Court.
What was that?
That was a spin-off from Hey Dad.
Really?
It was just Betty living in a crazy new locale. How do you think this discussion is going down out in the real world? We lost everyone, do you think?
It's quiet.
You mentioned Dusty's Trail. That's what they've got. I swear it was Gilligan in the Wild West. Look it up. It'll be on
I
there.
believe you, Tone. I do believe you.
Well, so this is our preview of exciting new shows coming in the next year.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of
Spin-offs.
It went exciting new shows to obscure shows from the 70s no one's ever seen. And I didn't even notice it happening. He's like a magician.
A segment was its own spin-off.
But what about other big stories? Here's some news. The University of Melbourne have called for an end to cremations.
Yeah.
Cremations, declaring the environmental cost of burning a human body in a wooden coffin is enormous. The greener option, says Professor So-and-so, is to place bodies in a cardboard coffin or a hessian sack and then bury them upright next to a tree so that remains would help with its growth. Gee, that tree's looking a bit droopy. Oh, have we still got any of Grandad left in the freezer?
I think you've got some legs.
That's what's missing from the back garden. Dead relatives. Combine that with John Jarrett in Better Homes and Gardens, and we can really get that grindhouse feel into primetime infotainment. Welcome to Rhonda Birchmore's rooftop garden, or as we're calling it, the killing fields. Is that something you feel comfortable with? Dumping a relative in a hessian sack,
Yeah.
bury them next to a tree.
Yeah. No, I'd be cool with that.
Certain relatives.
Yeah, yeah.
It's environmentally sound.
Helps the tree. We've got an apple tree in our front garden we've discovered.
Yeah.
That's it. Got an apple the other day.
No, but I would feel strange about eating an apple that has been fertilised by
Would you?
Uncle Jeff. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Might have a hint of Jeff in it. Would be delicious.
A bit Uncle Jeff there. But it's safeguarding our future. Keep that in mind.
That's true. Which we need to safeguard, Richard.
What else is going on?
Hey, check this out. In Russia, an Australian-born gay rights activist has alleged Moscow police stood by and watched while he was beaten by neo-Nazis at a march in Moscow.
That's a bit gay.
Hey, come on,
Hey,
Mitchell.
No, Mitchell, that's not funny.
Mitchell, that is not...
Those kids, those shock jocks.
Those little shock jocks from PLPS.
Hundreds of passengers on a train in India were asked by the driver of the train to get out and push.
Yes.
That's a good look for a Connex ad in Melbourne, I reckon. The People's Railway. The passengers were forced to get off the train. Took them half an hour to push it the remaining 12 feet into the powered stretch of the line. It got off the powered bit. A spokesman for Indian Railways commented, "In so many years of service in the Indian Railways, I've never come across such a bizarre incident." Oh, come on.
Come on, bro.
The Indian Railways? I've seen Gandhi, 200 people train surfing. There's your ticket, sir. Where would you like to sit? Oh, on the outside, would that be? Just clinging to the side of the dining car would be nice.
Yes, I've got some clinging room ready. Yeah, so yeah.
And where will you be stopping, sir? Oh, I'll just get off when we go through a tunnel. That'll be fine. There's no way. That is the most bizarre thing that he's ever seen. We need to give him an Indian-voiced gotcha call.
Oh, that'll get him.
Yeah.
Hey?
I think that's what we've got to start doing.
Yeah.
Other shows do Indian voice gotcha calls to people here in Australia.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens when you call India and try that gear out.
Oh, that's good.
How would that go down?
What?
Yeah. Thinking now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am thinking.
Yeah.
But what would we be complaining about? Like, what's our go?
Something to do with call centres, I'm sure it would have
you
to
think?
be. Like
Trying to
maybe
get a job at a call centre.
This is how.
We call India, trying to get a job at a call centre.
That's not a bad idea.
That'll get him.
All the meetings take place on here.
Yeah.
Nikki Hamilton is running out of fingers. That's how long we've crapped on. How's the George Harrison coming along, Mr. Master?
bad, thank you, Tony.
That sounds exactly like
What
your
is that?
Ringo, who sounds exactly like Peter Harvey.
It sounds a bit like the English butler out of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as well.
Who was I meant to do?
Which I like.
McCartney or...
Just any of the Beatles at this point would be helpful.
Well, that was my Ringo.
What's your best accent, Rich? Like your best, an accent that you do, which is just wonderful.
The one that knocks them dead down at Rove.
Oh, well, I can do some American ones okay. I can scrape by.
Which one?
I can also do some South African, like the other day, but I missed my opportunity when you did your sketch.
Well, now's the perfect time. Why not just do this break in a South African accent?
I need the lines, though. What do I say?
Oh, he
In
needs
the South
writers
African
now.
Listen to it.
Here's what happens from now on if you do a dodgy impression on this show. Look what happens. Killer bees. Killer bees loose in the studio. That's how it works. I just love the sound of killer bees. We had it yesterday. A lot of people calling up wanting more.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'm
No.
just covering while our producer, Nikki Hamilton, types desperately into Google because we're trying to find out if that's true, that the word chachi means penis in some languages because people have been calling up saying it also means it in Japanese and Korean.
It really gets around this chachi word.
At least we're being equally racist.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not true.
No, we are, and we've spread it evenly, and the answer is nowhere. Is it? But apparently it could be heard as penis by Koreans.
I didn't think I'd ever hear this sentence. Our producer, Nikki, is over at the computer going, I'm typing penis into Google and I'm getting nothing. Really? Nothing? I can't believe that that's true. That's an instance of being sprung bad.
Yeah.
Are we playing sprung bad today?
Our friends in Italy,
Yeah.
a gentleman in Italy has been busted because he was on the beach during the day with his mistress, Rich. Eh? Oh, yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying.
But that's fairly standard over. He was probably, was it Silvio Berlusconi?
No, it wasn't the terracotta one. But they were on the beach, sort of getting it on, as you do on the beach with your mistress. You know about that, Tony. You're a beach guy.
Sure.
And anyway, a helicopter flew overhead, and they were waving at it like, oh, yeah, you're in a helicopter, I'm on the beach, good on us, we're all in it together.
Yes.
But unfortunately for them, that it was beaming live pictures of a cycling race out to millions of Italian homes where his wife's brother was watching. No dice.
Yes. It's the kind of thing that triggers the theme. to Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes,
well
busted.
worth renting on DVD if you haven't seen it.
Now, I got sprung bad a little bit yesterday because I was taking the Navara out of the garage.
Oh, yes, the Nissan Navara with its huge pulling power.
Yeah, but my sort of inadequate driving skills got the better of the car for a while.
Oh, not up to the Navara, mate.
No, because it took me a full 30 minutes to get it out of the garage
Yeah,
because I'm not very good at reversing.
There's not much room to manoeuvre in the garage. I'm the
tiny
master
there.
of the 78-point turn. I get sketches written while I'm trying to back out of this place. It takes so long.
It's amazing. So, yes,
It's a
anyway.
Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
All right, Sprung Bad. Who did you get sprung by, though?
Well, the kind person I'd asked, would you mind just opening the garage for me when I come up? So when I drove up, I was like, yeah, the thinger and the ute, I gotta go. Just drove out of there.
You don't have...
I was trying to blame something about the car, but the car was obviously working perfectly well.
All right.
So off I went.
Sprung Bad. I had one yesterday.
What happened?
This is really as bad as it gets.
What happened?
I've got home. As you know, we've been talking about this show on the CI network, and people are still calling in about it.
Wow.
Most people didn't make it past the first 30 seconds. Jen Ryan says, I just tried to watch the opening of, here comes the name, I Can't Stop Masturbating on the CI network. I feel physically sick.
Oh, come on, Jen.
Too much scrotum, says
Now,
Jen.
well, where does she draw the line?
Now, we taped that on the weekend.
Because I don't know if Jen's scrotum tolerance level is where it should be.
It's a natural thing.
Maybe she needs a rigorous...
It's going back to yesterday's show already.
Sorry.
Where's James Brayshaw? He
Sorry.
should be part of this action.
Yeah, what will you say, Toe?
I've come home and I thought, okay, everyone's emailing in. We haven't played any clips
No.
off it. Am I going to have to watch this thing finally?
Yes, you are.
So I've got home, thrown the bag down, yelled out to my wife, where's that tape of I Just Can't Stop Masturbating? And there she is in the kitchen with a plumber. It's for work. No, it's for work.
It's honestly for work.
And this is a guy who's, while he's plumbing, is listening to Ernie Sigley
Yeah, he doesn't
and
know.
cacking himself.
Oh, ouch.
He has no idea who I am.
No.
I'm just a guy who's demanding the tape of that show. So that's
Before you've even said hello.
that's right. Well, straight to business.
Mine's more of a strange, embarrassing thing where down the road there's a small corner store, you know, like a milk bar or a deli, or and I go in there every single day to pick up my quota of iced coffee, and I do that every day, and because I like to support it because it's right next to a service station,
Yeah.
which just sucks all the money out of the local area.
Yeah,
And
You're
right.
really sticking it to him, Rich.
That's right.
Yeah,
You like
fighting
to
the man.
Good on you, Rich. You're
like
like
to-
Che Guevara.
you like to support the small businesses.
Yep.
And although at one stage the service station had a special on the iced coffee.
Oh, the Farmers Union ice coffee.
Yeah.
A two for a certain price, and I thought, well, I can do it for a couple of days
Yeah.
and then go back to the small business. Of course, while I'm in the line with a couple of iced coffees in my hand, the shop owner walks past to go to his shop. Looks at me. Like I'm a bad dude.
You're a bad dude.
I've cheated on him.
You have.
I'm unfaithful.
You guys had something going.
I do that thing. It's thinking about it too much. But I'll occasionally order books from Amazon. Yes, from overseas. Books you can't get here, being fair to local vendors. And you have to go up to the post office to get them. And then do you do that thing? You pick it up and it's got the big Amazon logo
You feel
on
like a king when you've got an Amazon box.
Oh, isn't that a great feeling?
Yeah.
And then don't go into a bookshop with it.
Well, they know.
They just look, oh, thanks.
Oh.
We're sitting here wearing a barrel. Good on you. Yeah, just keep ordering books from overseas.
So which of Dan Brown's numbers couldn't you get here, Tone?
I did that in a music shop once. So I remember they didn't have a certain CD, and I said, "Oh, listen, I'll just burn it off the internet."
Oh.
And then I just realised what I'd said. Off the mailing list,
Take
buddy.
through the heart.
Shock jock, Richard Marsden. Have
Yeah.
you been sprung bad, listeners? I'm sure you must have.
Hi, Glenn. How are you?
Well, when I was about 12 years old, I jumped on the internet and I was talking to a young lady, apparently. And after about half an hour of her coaxing me, we decided to engage in an internet chat. And my mum found me doing it.
Just exploring the myriad possibilities of the internet, Mum.
And
Well, her comment was, you spelt the V word wrong. And I was like, oh, no.
Spelled the V word wrong. How embarrassing.
get out of the way, son. Let me take over. you're going to do it, we'll do it properly. Right. Where are we at?
Grammatically correct. One will bone, two bone of the bone. Get it right. Okay,
Thanks, Glenn.
Is that Santo Cilauro? You might remember him, long-time Triple M listeners, as the Hoon Advisor.
Hoon Advisor. La 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 la.
Oh, glorious mono.
Hoon Advisor.
That was a big segment in the late 80s, Ed.
Santo, I can't tell you how much I love the guys. The chorus of people, la 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 la.
It's all Santo.
Here's the tragedy. We probably would have played that straight after that song. To cut a long story short,
That's
we
the
would have
brand
played
newie from Spandau Ballet.
It's a bit edgy, that one.
Wow.
Santo, a lot of business in the last hour. Now, we did Sprung Bad. Have you been Sprung Bad?
How bad is this? Not only do I keep getting sprung bad this way, but it keeps happening to me. I don't learn from it. We have 2 video shops near our place. The big video is the big one, and the little tiny one.
Yes.
And I keep bringing back my video easy ones to the little one.
No.
Just to taunt them.
And he's just looking and going, "No, mate, that's not my shop."
Wow.
And I go, "Oh, yeah, but." Because he's the guy that I talk to, you know, he's the guy. So that and it keeps happening over and over again.
Oh, it's good to see that you're still keeping 2 video shops on the boil, because a lot of people have given up on them completely.
Is that right?
Oh, because I love the video shop. It's the art gallery at your local shopping strip. That's what it is. If you get a DVD of a movie, that's as good as the digital master. It's like being able to go and get a Rembrandt out
Is it?
down at 7-Eleven.
Really?
But I miss
When you
those
think
days,
about it.
Tony, I used to come over to your place and used to play the big laser disc.
Oh,
The laser disc.
People laughed at the Laserdisc. But I got 12 good years out of the Laserdisc. 12 good years of people going, mate, something small is coming.
No, come and have a look at this. I've got a copy of Miller's Crossing.
Yeah, and you'd have to put on, it took about 12 sides to get through the whole film.
Really?
It was only half an hour a side of a Laserdisc. This was back in the late 1980s.
Will you get rid of them, Tony? You're going to hold on to them?
I've kept the Criterion collection ones.
Okay.
They're now worth upwards of $29.95.
Oh, Tony, you are
Okay.
sitting on a nest egg.
Okay, enough of that.
And I still keep my LP record, my vinyl stuff.
Yeah, you've got to do that.
I keep it in my iCrate. Keep it all in my iCrate. And my favourite spin-off show?
Spin-offs.
Spin-offs?
Yep.
Price is Right, when it became the new Price is Right.
Oh, yes.
But what did they
Fantastic.
change?
Everything was newer.
Really?
Yeah, new. Everything
Didn't
was
it go
new.
all new? In radio, things go all new.
All new? No,
occasionally.
just the new.
All new prices.
But that was, Santo doesn't believe me, there was Aftermash. I'm telling you.
Because I remember Trapper John MD.
Yeah, I remember.
But that was see, that's weird, because that was a drama.
So they got a new comedy and a drama out of MASH.
That's right. I mean, imagine if, I don't know, George from George and Mildred was suddenly a serious brain surgeon. Like, that's how weird it was.
And what about George MD?
Spin-offs, international spin-offs. How's Thank God You're Here going in its various incarnations?
Did you say thank God you're here, or as they say in Germany,
Gott sei Dank, dass Sie da sind.
or perhaps as they say in Belgium,
Welkom bij Godzijdank.
well done, Richard. Or perhaps
Godzijdank.
as they say, kind of a strange way, in Denmark. Hang on, not finished. Or as they say in Russia.
Слава Богу, ты пришел!
But my favourite, as they say in the Czech Republic.
Konečně si tady.
We will make you talk.
Now, is that literally Thank God You're Here, or...?
Some of them it's got Thank God You've Come is
Okay.
Okay, it's
Denmark, I
different
think,
show,
and Thank Heavens You've Entered the Door. There's different ways of doing it. There's different.
Wow.
And what's your favourite one? Like,
The Russians, they've probably done more episodes than we have.
now, this is, and what makes that different is they've had to invent their own sketches and
Sketches,
scenes.
yeah.
No, not really. Strangely enough, they're the ones that have stuck to our model the closest. So everyone's tried to do their own. You know, Denmark is absolute Eurovision style.
Really?
In America, they've kind of supersized the whole show. And everyone does their own versions, but the Russians have gone straight out, except they've changed the opening theme.
Oh, really?
And I just like
Voodoo Guru's not big in Russia.
not quite big enough.
Всегда апрелем завершается март. Всегда на север с юга птицы летят. Но нелегко унять сомнения дрожь. А вдруг ты к нам не придешь? Слава Богу, ты пришел!
Hey,
It's a
hey,
little bit-
thrill
it's a little
seekers. Welcome aboard.
It's a little bit madness, but without the scar.
And have the producers in the different countries managed to find someone who looks a bit like Ed to stand up the back with a false moustache in the scenarios?
I'm very impressed with that. No disrespect to you, Ed.
No,
I mean,
no
I know
worries.
you're a very fine actor. I've always said it to you.
Thank you very much, Santo.
The ensemble casts are excellent around the place. They really are good. Yeah.
We're going to get replaced by some cheaper Russians.
Then-
aren't we?
We're going to go, I'm sure, go towards India.
To outsource us.
What about the Czech Republic song?
Oh, let's hear that.
Jsme nikdy se žení. Jsme půvabná překvapení. Jsme zastávky na znamení. Jsme dveře, co zuby cení.
You never know what we'll play next.
And that's
Triple M.
Don't you reckon that's a little bit Last American Hero?
Oh, it is a bit, believe it or not.
Is that by my favourite Czech pop star, Masnatu Autobanki?
What were you just saying? Something about the Serenity?
Yeah, no.
Because I was saying I watched The Castle last night.
Yeah,
I was on
That's
the
right. It
telly.
was on last night, and there are lots of people that quote lines
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
me.
sure.
Or to, I can imagine people like Stephen Curry.
Do you
would
still
it.
get it on the street sometimes?
A lot of people don't know because it's 10 years ago that I was involved in it. But people that do know often, quote stuff. When we go away to, on trips and stuff to the desert and stuff, when you're stuck with people, that certainly comes out pretty quickly. But I was in a cemetery on the outskirts of Melbourne, and I walked past a headstone that actually had, I won't mention the name. It just had the guy's name. He was 34 when he died, and the epitaph read, "How's the Serenity?"
There you go.
How nice is that?
I'm going to have the dogs are loving it. That's
What about, I might just go with, I can't get no respect.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Homer
Dangerfield.
Simpson apparently doing a Rodney Dangerfield
It's
impression.
very touching. We did sue, but anyway.
Yeah, that'll teach him.
Now, Santo, explain this thing that you gave to me. We can't really play it because it's so long and we'll probably get sued if we play that much of it. Rex Hunt's address to the nation.
Well, Tom and Rob really like fishing.
Yeah, sure.
And they go on Rex's show quite often. And they said, you should have a listen to this. It was a few years ago now. It's got to be at least 5.
Yeah.
And Rex decided to make his address to the nation, which I'm presuming was about the state of environment and fisheries and things like that. So, and I said, oh, look, I don't really want to hear it. And they said, no. Hear it.
We're locking the door. You'll listen to it.
And it is...
It's about 15 minutes long.
Exactly, and I know what you mean. You try and break it up into bits, doesn't do justice to the piece as a whole.
You've got to hear the whole thing in one go. And it was a monologue he did on AM radio, and I think it was syndicated around the nation. It's one of those ones where people call in wanting a copy of it to motivate their kids.
It's
to play
very
to their
passionate.
kids.
It's very passionate. It actually is kind of motivating, but in a World Wrestling Federation kind of way.
But it's that sort of thing where you're motivating people, but about 2.5 minutes in, you're settling a lot of old scores.
Of course, I haven't
People
heard it for a
said
little-
I'd never be able to do this, but who's laughing now? That kind of stuff. And what if you've actually memorised a few bits of it, haven't you, Richard?
I mean, I've listened to it way too many times and I just fell in love with it as well because it is quite inspiring. But then when you break it down into sound bites, it's so much fun. Who would have guessed that the little fat kid from Morty Alec would make it? Just because you don't graduate head of the class doesn't mean you can't one day own the school.
It's true.
Fantastic
Very
things that like
true.
that can work in any situation.
And what's the bit where he's in England and he hears one of his catchphrases in the street?
That's right. Oxford Street in London will never be the same with the chorus of yibbita yibbitas following me down the street.
And what's Dizzy? What's the heady days?
But a man came up to me and said, Rex, I love the show. Gave me his business card to an address in the Netherlands. This is Dizzy stuff, folks.
Wow.
That's my favourite. That is my favourite.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
You can just crowbar it into any situation.
A guy from the Netherlands gave him his business card.
Wow.
Dizzy stuff indeed.
This is dizzy.
Both of us have been promising to preview the new TV season, and we've done bugger all.
I've done nothing.
Richard comes and sees me last night and he said, forget about the opening break tomorrow. I've got it sorted. I am going to preview the TV season properly if you guys simply refuse.
Well, if anyone wants me, I'll be in the hot tub.
Because I like your TV previews, but they're like colouring books where the bits haven't been coloured in.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
You need to really explore and give people a taste of what is
You
coming
think
up
I'm not fleshing him out properly, Rich?
Yeah.
in the 2017
Fair enough,
season.
brother. Fair enough.
One of the hot shows at the moment is It Takes Two.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right,
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And we had Russell Gilbert in last week.
We certainly did.
And I'm a little disappointed that Russell's no longer on the show. For me, it's lost a lot of its zest.
Has he been boned?
He got, he's out of there.
Oh, where did he go wrong?
Well, he lost to like Kowalski because he teared up and stuff. Bronze medal and some tears will keep you in.
See, this is like my sister. She lost out on Australia's Got Talent
Australia's got street performers.
because people wanted the cute little kitty on the piano.
That's
you can't
true.
beat
You can't beat the kitty.
And then the old bloke with the gum leaf.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat that.
No.
It was good. His name was Herb, too.
Oh, really?
My mum loved Herb's. In all seriousness, she was gunning for Herb to win.
Really?
Yeah, he couldn't do the final countdown by Europe on that gum leaf, though.
And he wasn't sexy.
It Takes Two, though. They need to do more. And as well, you might remember a little while ago on the show, we were trying to find jobs for the Big Brother housemates.
We were.
that's
Why
true.
not put the two together?
Right.
Rather than quality, have quantity. From the makers of It Takes Two comes your new favourite celebrity singing reality show. Every Big Brother contestant ever in the hit new It Takes 126. It takes 126, baby. Just me and 125 other people. I don't think that will
I
work.
like it.
That's great. Is that you singing, Richard?
Yeah.
Is that-
Multiple Marsland.
Wow. Multiplicity in here.
Let's go over to the other channels now.
Okay.
Inspector Rex in all kinds of trouble.
I love Inspector Rex.
What is it? It's a German Shepherd. He's a police dog. Is that correct? And
Or somehow he solves crime just by sort of nodding his head every week.
Yeah.
My mum loves it.
There's whole episodes where he's just trying to get a crumb out from under the fridge.
It's quite interesting.
But he solves a case at the end of it.
But he's in all kinds of trouble because, well, SBS are, because they played an episode of Inspector Rex at 7:30 at night.
Oh, really?
And it featured some lewd content.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think the official wording was stronger than mild.
Oh, really?
There was some sort of sex scene that didn't really fit in with the family
A little
time
bit
slot.
peri for 7:30, was it?
But wouldn't you know it, Inspector Rex is getting steamier. Just when you thought Inspector Rex couldn't get much ribalder, he does. And how? In one sizzling hot brand new episode. Inspector Rex does the reverse cowgirl. No, now listen.
What is the reverse cowgirl?
Now, as I said, I was on cold medication.
What's the reverse cowgirl?
Wikipedia it.
Really?
Really? Well, I'll get to that after I've looked up Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah, in the Turkish grip.
We learned so many new terms.
Rich, you're a filthmonger. All right.
If you're getting a radio show together, make sure you have a bloke who used to do a sex program, pushing
right.
the buttons. You'll learn
You
so
will
much.
learn so much.
I've got them all.
Yeah.
You've got the word ribalder. I didn't
Yeah.
know if that was a word or not.
Love making them up. Love making them up.
This is gold. What else is coming up
What
in
do we
the
got,
new
Rich?
TV season, Richard?
The King. Massive hit on pay
Oh,
TV.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Big
Everyone
hit,
loved that.
yeah.
Great performances.
Harry rules.
Wonderful story. Interesting to have a look at the private life of Graham Kennedy.
Yeah.
And off the back of that success, TV1 are also making some other shows looking at some of our biggest stars on the TV.
From the makers of The King comes the story of a renegade, a pioneer in the unexplored frontiers of the breakfast TV wars.
5 minutes, Mr. Stefanovic. Your ass is mine, Wilkins.
The King of morning TV, the Carl Stefanovic story.
Oh, I was tuning in for that.
It's got legs.
So does he swallow a piece of ice every time before he goes out?
He's
that
having
how
a
he
stiff drink
prepares?
before he goes on the air.
But they've already done iRobot.
That's true. That's true.
Surely it's just going to be a replay of that.
Well, let's kick it home. What's the big show on CI at the moment that we can't stop talking about?
You know what it's called. I can't stop tooling about downstairs.
That's right. It's a big ratings hit. And we've certainly been talking about it a lot on this show.
Yeah.
And from the makers of that show, and also the man whose arms exploded, comes another big hit documentary on the CI channel. A tale of one man's addiction. An addiction that would become an obsession. And an obsession that could cost him everything. Ed Cavalier in I Can't Stop with and then all over the until the does a how good is this and coming soon. I like it.
What I love is Richard has come up with all these bits and then he's booing himself.
Yeah.
He's booing himself.
It was great.
Great ideas, Richard. You've certainly
Good on you,
shown up
Rich.
our shoddy TV
And I
segment.
can stop woo if I really try.
Yeah. But you can't stop.
I know I can't.
What is that?
I don't know, but he's been. Oh, in the office.
Cool.
But listen to this, Richard. Remember when you were known as Armitage Shanks?
Oh,
last year.
Good old Shanksy.
That was his acting name.
It was his acting name.
Listen to this. This is from Xander, who's emailed us. He was at the pub over the weekend, went to the gents, was standing at the urinal. Two blokes came in, stood next to him.
Yeah.
Started having a conversation in a particularly drunken manner. Listen to this for a conversation. One bloke said, if I had to buy a toilet company, I'd buy Caroma.
No.
The other one replied by saying he would buy Armitage Shanks, as it is a much better company. Then out of nowhere, a voice from a cubicle yells out, Marsland! Exact quote.
That is usually the phrase yelled out in public toilets.
It's so true.
Xander desperately muffled his own laughter. Everyone else was baffled.
Yeah.
I actually did own an Armitage Shanks toilet, and it was beautiful. It was about 40 years old. It was one of those old-style big ones.
You'd really get in, like you'd almost get in there, hey?
And they had to replace it, and he goes, you want the old toilet? And I went, nah, I don't want... Actually,
Actually.
maybe I wouldn't mind an old toilet hanging around my house to reenact, maybe for the Train Spotting stage show. Who
Lovely.
knows?
Lovely, Rich.
How does he hang on to that girlfriend here?
I don't know. All the old toilets at his house.
I'm glad that you did that TV preview because I'm afraid to turn on the TV these days.
Why?
There's just so much ugly gear going on. That kidney donor show. Big Donor, it's called.
Well, it looks like there's something rotten in the state of the Netherlands.
Yes. I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
But how does it work? They've got three terminally ill people in beds. They're competing.
Yeah, they're competing.
How do they compete? Is it
It's
more...
a knockout style.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Slippery pontoons.
Yeah, slippery pontoons and pirate costumes. It's pretty punishing stuff. It's like a cheese roll as well. They just set them up at the top of the hill. First one down.
Brilliant. Great.
Kidney
Send the
roll.
Yeah. It's not cool.
Okay, that's disturbing. And then you've got that bloke on the news last night eating a corgi. Did you see that? Sitting out in the middle of the street, performance artist,
Yeah.
serviette on, tucking into what he claimed was corgi. Did you buy it?
No, because I've eaten some dog before, and it came out in these sort of large, sort of massive rissole types.
Yeah.
Now, what you would have had to have done is taken bits off the corgi and rolled them up sort of meatball style. And I don't believe that he did that.
And whereabouts were you eating dog? What are you talking about?
No, I was in Guangzhou in China.
Oh, okay.
And they tried the old trick. I was there with another guy and another mate of mine who was Australian and a Chinese guy. And he ordered, and he thought it was hilarious to try and order some dog because I'd be freaked out. It was only I'd finished the dish by the time he told me. And I said, it wasn't bad. And he went, more? And I went, if you got it, bro. How many dogs you got out there, man?
Yeah, boy. Come on.
It's quite delicious. Yeah.
Jump in the wok. Why is...
Jump in the wok. That's almost gong territory.
It's almost gong territory.
Ted Mulry gang song.
We don't... Ted Mulry gang.
Come on, jump in my wok.
You never know what will play at Triple M. Have we got any Ted Mulry gang?
None coming up,
No,
unfortunately.
that's a pity. He died recently, Ted Mulry.
Sadly.
They believe the death was gang-related. Don't say that on air. Just think it. Don't say it.
You were saying about the corgis, Tone?
The corgi bloke, he's doing it to make a point about animal rights. Have we got a quote from him?
I suppose, in a way, he's just trying to raise that sort of little bit of awareness to say, like, you know, we love our animals in Britain.
The Queen's corgis have the run of Buckingham Palace, but the British media accuses Prince Philip's hunt party of animal cruelty for beating a fox to death.
Beating a fox to death? So let me get this right. You can beat a fox to death,
yes,
but it's wrong to say toilet around a member of the royal family.
Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Because isn't that why Prince William lost his missus?
Yeah, that's why Middleton got the chop.
Because the mother said the word toilet instead of the word lavatory.
But she just walked up to the Queen and there was no context. She just walked up to her and went, hey, Queenie, toilet. Hey, urinal. Hey?
How's that?
Yeah, no.
Prince Philip bashing a fox to death. Cop this, you bastard. Hang on. Did somebody say toilet?
Right, that's it. This is ruined.
I'm trying to bash a fox to death here. Language.
And someone in the cubicle yelling out, Marsland.
Marsland. That's our focus group.
Well, it looks like there's something rotten in the state of the Netherlands.
Very true.
What have we got here?
What's going on?
Brad goes the grope on the red carpet. Now, have a look at that.
That's
There's
his
a
go.
picture. Just look what it says. Forget any talk of Brad and Angelina splitting up.
Wait. Okay.
Have you forgotten it?
Yeah.
Just as well, because if this red carpet picture is anything to go by,
which it is,
the Ocean's 13 actor can't keep his hands off his lover.
Oh, gosh.
Now, have a look at that. Is the hand actually touching Norg?
No.
He's just waving his hands about and they've snapped the shot
Yeah.
just as his hand happens to be passing it.
That's nowhere near Norg. The fingers aren't kind of like rounded in a cupping motion, and
it's
flat-handed.
Kind of a shadow as well.
He's clearly 10 metres away. He's in Cannes and he's in Rwanda, so I don't know how.
So if it's a celebrity relationship in trouble and you want to make it look good for the papers, like Ryan Felipe.
Yeah.
It's too soon, Reece.
Yeah.
Remember that story?
Yes.
He could just go to one of her sort of glamorous openings, stand across the road, get the cameraman.
That's right.
And he could obviously his hand would look way bigger than Reece. It would look like she was standing on his hand,
Which is nice too.
but it would create the impression that they're back together. I mean, that would be as believable as that. Hey, this exclusive interview.
We have been. We don't do phoners. We don't do sort of phone interviews.
Yeah, we're quite snobby on this show.
Yeah, well, really?
Well, we insist that everyone be in the same room as us.
Yeah, that's true.
We insist that all interviews are live.
Yeah, we do insist, and they have to sit in with us for an hour.
Yeah.
It's more than my family get. They only get pre-recorded phoners from me.
I've been pre-recording with my family for
Have
years.
you? So good. And luckily now, just coming into this, yes, no, he's here now. We have an exclusive interview. Here we go. Joined by Keith Urban. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks.
Well, tell us a bit of what's going on.
Just mixing it up, touring around, staying off the alcohol, and desperately in love with my wife.
Who is?
Nicole Kidman.
Thanks for joining us.
You didn't get anything out of him about the hair.
I know. Well, what was meant to happen is we were meant to play the sting. I was meant to ask one question.
Yeah.
Rich was meant to say, I'm married to Nicole Kidman, and then we were meant to get out. But I think I asked the wrong question, did I, Rich?
Yeah.
What was I meant to ask?
Trying to steer you towards that.
I was trying to steer you towards that.
Yeah,
was
okay.
something- well-
Welcome to our new segment called What Was Meant to Happen.
What was that? You?
It was meant to be, who are you married to? Nicole Kidman.
And
Yeah,
that
you're
has
right.
been rehearsed
Yeah,
for
you're right.
2 days.
No, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right.
2 days of
Jeez Louise.
rehearsal for that.
All right.
No, but it was good.
Another one tomorrow.
We're going to have to pull something out of the bag. I have to go to the emergency jokes.
Oh, really?
What's in the emergency jokes? Hey, what's happening in East Timor? What level Horta restrictions are they on? Oh, where's the boy?
Boy?
Where is it? They've banned the use of the Horta slide. You can't use the Horta slide.
Oh, jeez.
You're not allowed to flush the Horta loo.
Okay, I need a shower.
See?
Can we go to some music?
This is what happens. When something goes wrong, we bust out the emergency jokes and everybody gets hurt. What about Short Bus?
What about it?
That's
The
a-
weekend's coming.
This is a film we've been recommending, and
Strongly recommending.
people either hate it or throw up. It's usually one of those two reactions.
Okay.
I don't know. We've been actually recommending. We've just been saying that it's there.
I strongly, personally endorse it.
Mitch has never recovered from seeing Short Bus. He says, now there's a movie for Rodney Dangerfield to be added into.
Oh,
See, this is another thing our listeners are into, adding Rodney Dangerfield to movies he shouldn't be in. I don't know, Rodney Dangerfield in one of those orgy scenes.
Oh, somebody stepping a duck?
Now we're having fun.
It works.
So romantic.
Great ideas from the listeners. A lot of people
They're full of them.
calling in saying, surely you guys would have something to say about that Peter Meakin bloke, the head of news at Channel 7.
Ah, yes.
Drink driving offender. I think it's all been said by the Chaser, really.
I think they've done well.
They've covered that pretty well. But he was on the news again, and I think he's appealing that verdict, or whatever you want to call it. Have we got a clip?
Much was made in court of Peter Meakin's good character and his contrition. He presented references from numerous television executives. However, the magistrate
had seen today tonight. So there goes the good character. Parliament. What goes on in Parliament? People love it when killer bees are let loose on our nation's elected representatives.
Absolutely.
And there's constantly bees in Parliament. If you listen closely to the background of the footage, you can. I don't know what the story is. Is there no filter, no wasp filter?
I don't think there is.
In the lower house?
No.
If you listen closely, you can always hear bees. And then I find the constant use of aerosol cans tends to undermine
Distracting.
the climate control message. Have a listen to this.
Mr. Speaker, according to an analysis of all of the exports of the OECD, those exports comprise about 62%.
The Prime Minister is in order, and the Prime Minister will be heard.
Mr. Speaker, let me continue talking about climate change, which I thought was was one of
The
the
member for
stellar
Adelaide is
policies
warned.
of the opposition. When the Leader of the Opposition first asked me a question about this
The member
issue
for Jagga Jagga.
on the 23rd of May, I said that
The member for
government
Jagga Jagga
reserved
is
the right
warned.
to engage in a public information campaign on climate
Order.
change and associated matters. The opposition are part
The member for Lyons.
say, will you confirm such and such?
Oh, sorry. Now it seems that the bee is loose in the studio. Here, get this. Do something about that, Richard. Drop a sandbag on it. Oh, me tiny bee plums!
Yeah.
Well, that's politics out of the way.
I love to think of the member for Lions sitting up there with a couple of lions sitting next to him, and they've got suits and ties on, and they won't shut up. They're always roaring, shush, shush, rah, rah, rah.
Just waiting for the member for Kalia to do his latest single.
Then get him.
Get this, it's blown out to 2 hours, 11 to 1 weekdays on the Triple M network.